Korea rose from the ash of the Korean War. However, recently, the agony of the war is being fainted in the mind of the Korean people. The history, which should not be forgotten, becomes an old story from time immemorial. Here is a history we should ruminate forever. This place asks us not to forget the tragic history of the miserable Korean War. I would like to invite you to the UN Memorial Cemetery, which is now a resting place of Busan citizens and a famous tourist destination.
The UN Cemetery is the only cemetery for UN soldiers, enshrining the UN soldiers who lost their invaluable lives during the Korean War. On 25th June 1950, when North Korean troops invaded South Korea, transcending 38th parallel line, the U.S. asked UN member countries to cut off their support for North Korea and dispatched its Air Force and Navy on 27th June. The Korean Army Force, which had to retreat by the sudden attack, advanced through Pyongyang and into Changcheong River with the UN force in October. But after a year, the two Koreas comforted each other between the 38th parallel line. On 10th July 1951, a peace talk on the repatriation of POW was held, but unlike the expectation that the war would end soon, the conflict over the repatriation issue kept the war going on for 20 months. Applying self-will repatriation principle, the 3-year-old war ended. An armistice was made on 27th July 1953, and bodies of UN soldiers were enshrined in this cemetery. Now many of them have been repatriated to their countries and only 23,000 of them remain. But this place can remind us of the misery of the Korean War, while it becomes a famous tourist destination beloved by Busan citizens as well as full Korean people.
In daily life, we often forget the misery of war. But when we visit this place, we can meet the soldiers who sacrificed themselves for us. They remind us of the cherishable memory of peace, which we can keep for our entire life. Here at the UN Memorial Cemetery, you can feel the joy of peace and the misery of war simultaneously. NSP Global Lit News, Soo Min Shin.